Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone, and the Bhakti Vedanta Bhagavat groups welcomes everyone again to our weekly Hari Katha. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. So, as usual, before we begin, the important announcement for this week. So, Tuesday, 16th February, is the Vasant Panchami. Also, it's the appearance day of Sri Pundrika Vidhyanidhi and Sri Raghunandan Thakura, Srila Raghunath Goswami, and it's also the disappearance day of Srila Vishnvanatha Chakravati Thakur, and the appearance day of Srimati Vishnupriya Devi, and also 16th February is Saraswati Puja. Tuesday, 18th February is not Tuesday. Thursday, 18th February is Sri Advaita Acharya appearance day, and it is recommended to fast till noon on Thursday in honor of appearance of Srila Advaita Acharya. And Friday, Feb 19th is Vishnuastami, and Saturday, Feb 20th is Sri Madhavacharya disappearance. We seek the blessings of all these acharyas for our advancement in spiritual life and for attaining pure bhakti. So in the last two sessions, Sachidanand Das Prabhuji has been explaining us about the third verse of Canto 1, Chapter 1. So some of the important points from the last two sessions. So as Prabhuji mentioned, the Vedas are compared to a desire tree. It contains so many subject matters like Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, etc. So it contains both spiritual and material. It can give us whatever we desire. However, our goal should be to attain the highest of the highest. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest, and which is also considered the ripened fruit of the desired tree of the Vedas. So in the last session, Prabhuji gave the importance reference of Shivji and how he mentioned that Shukadev Goswami has understood the highest concept of Srimad Bhagavatam. And the sweetness of Srimad Bhagavatam was thus increased when it came out from Sukdev Goswami's lips because of his understanding and narration from a pure Rasik angle. Also, Prabhuji explained a very important term Bhaktya Bhagavatam Grahyam, which means that the Srimad Bhagavatam can be learned only through pure devotional attitude and pure devotional service. And again, he stressed the importance of serving Srimad Bhagavatam from a pure devotional perspective. And one should not use speculative methods or imaginary commentaries or view Srimad Bhagavatam from a scholarly perspective so that we can understand the real essence. So with that, we welcome Prabhuji once again to commence today's session on Canto 1, Chapter 1, Verse 3. Hare Krishna.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे 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 वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। भजन केशव तुआ जगत विचित्र केशव तुआ जगत विचित्र करम विपाके भवन भ्रमी पेखालु रंग बहुचित्र करम विपाके भवन भ्रमी पेखालु रंग बहुचित्र केशव तुआ जगत विचित्र केशव तुआ जगत विचित्र। हरि बोल। तुआ पद विस्मृति आमार जंत्रणा, तुआ पद विस्मृति आमार जंत्रणा, क्लेश दहने दोही जाई। कपिल पतंजलि गौतम कानो भजी, कपिल पतंजलि गौतम कानो भजी, जैमिनी बौद्ध आविधाई। केशव तुआ जगत विचित्र, केशव तुआ जगत विचित्र। तब कोई निज मते भुक्ति मुक्ति याचतो, तब कोई निज मते भुक्ति मुक्ति याचत, पाठहि नाना विध फांद। सो सब वंचक तुआ भक्ति बहिर्मुख, सो सब वंचक तुआ भक्ति बहिर्मुख, घाटवे विषम परमाद। केशव तुआ जगत विचित्र, केशव तुआ जगत विचित्र। वैमुख वंचने भट्ट शोषव, वैमुख वंचने भट्ट शोषव, निरमिल विभेद पशार। वैमुख वंचने भट्ट शोषव, निरमिल विभेद पशार। दंडवत दूरत भक्ति विनोद भेलो, दंडवत दूरत भक्ति विनोद भेलो, भक्त चरण गोरी सार। दंडवत दूरत भक्ति विनोद भेलो, भक्त चरण गोरी सार। केशव तुआ जगत विचित्र, केशव तुआ जगत विचित्र। करम विपाके भववन भ्रमी, करम विपाके भववन भ्रमी, पेखलु रंग बहुचित्र। केशव तुआ जगत विचित्र। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Govinda तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है, राधे श्याम तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है. This aarti is sung every day to please Radha Govind, the deities of Rupa Goswami in Jaipur. Govinda tumhare चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है, राधे श्याम तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है. ओ मेरे हाथ में लोटा है, मैं तुम्हें नहलाने आया हूँ. ओ मेरे हाथ में जल का लोटा है, मैं तुम्हें नहलाने आया हूँ. ओ बड़े प्रेम से नाओ मनमोहन में तुम्हें नहलाने आया हूँ. ओ बड़े प्रेम से नाओ चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है। राधे श्याम तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है। मेरे हाथ में गोविंद, मेरे हाथ में रेशम वस्त्र है, मैं तुम्हें पहनाने आया हूँ। मेरे हाथ में रेशम वस्त्र है, मैं तुम्हें पहनाने आया हूँ। बड़े प्रेम से पहनो मन मोहन में तुम्हें पहनाने आया हूँ। बड़े प्रेम से पहनो मन मोहन में तुम्हें पहनाने आया। श्री गोविंद तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है। राधे श्याम तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है। मेरे हाथ में गोविंद, मेरे हाथ में केसर चंदन है, मैं तिलक लगाने आया हूँ। मेरे हाथ में केसर चंदन है, मैं तिलक लगाने आया हूँ। बड़े प्रेम से तिलक लगाने दो, मैं तिलक लगाने आया। बड़े प्रेम से तिलक लगाने दो, मैं तिलक लगाने आया। श्री गोविंद तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है। राधे श्याम तुम्हारे चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है। तो मेरे हाथ में गोविंद, मेरे हाथ में माखन मिश्री है, मैं तुम्हें जिमाने आया हूँ। मेरे हाथ में गोविंद, मेरे हाथ में माखन मिश्री है, मैं तुम्हें जिमाने आया हूँ। बड़े प्रेम से जीवो मन मोहन, मैं तुम्हें जिमाने आया। बड़े प्रेम से जीवो मन मोहन, मैं तुम्हें जिमाने आया। श्री गोविंद चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है। ओ राधे श्याम, राधे श्याम, ओ राधे श्याम।
अच्छो हुई कि यहाँ
चरणों में एक प्रेम पुजारी आया है। राधे 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 गोविंद राधे, राधे 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 गोविंद राधे, गोविंद राधे गोपाल 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 राधे, राधे 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 गोविंद राधे, राधे 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 गोविंद राधे, गोविंद राधे गोपाल राधे, गोविंद राधे गोपाल राधे, हे गोविंद हे गोपाल बोलो राधे गोविंदा, हे राधे गोविंदा, हे राधे गोपाला, हे राधे गोपाला, राधे राधे राधे, जय जय श्री राधे। बोलो राधे राधे राधे, जय जय श्री राधे राधे। जयताम सुरतो पंगो मम मंद मतेर गति, मत सर्वस्व पादाम भोजो, राधा मदन मोहन, जयो राधा मदन मोहन, राधा मदन मोहन, राधे राधे। दिव्य वृंदारण्य कल्पद्रुमा, श्रीमत रत्नांगद सिंहासनस्थो, श्री श्रीला राधा गोविंद देवो, प्रेष्ठाली भी सेव्य मानव स्मरामि, जयो राधा गोविंद, राधा गोविंद, राधे राधे। श्रीमान रास रसारंभी वंशीवत स्थितः कर्षणैर्वेणो स्वनैर्गोपी श्री गोपीनाथाय श्रेयस्तु नः। जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे राधे। जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय जय श्री राधे। जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय जय श्री राधे। जय कृष्ण बलराम जय वृंदावन धाम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय वृंदावन धाम। जय ललिता विशाखा राधे श्याम। जय ललिता विशाखा राधे श्याम। जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय। जय सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि जय सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि। जय सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि। जय प्रभु पद जय प्रभु पद जय प्रभु पद श्रील प्रभु पद। प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद। गुरुदेव 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 प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। आराध्यो भगवान व्रजेश तनयस तद्धाम वृंदावनम रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवधुवर्गेण तया कल्पिता। श्रीमद्भागवत पुराणयमलं प्रेम पुमार्थो महान्। श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभोर्मतैलं नायत्रयाग्रहः। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद। श्री अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद। जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। शृण्वन्ता कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तनम् हृदयन्तस्त भद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सता। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया। भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। निगम कल्पतरो गलितं फलम् सुखमुखाद्रवमृतं संयुतम्। पिबत भागवत रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिक भुवि भावुका। नवनीरदनिन्दितं कान्तिधरं रसोसागर नागरभूपवरं शुभवंकिमचारु शिखण्डशिखिं भज कृष्णनिधिं व्रजराजसुतम्। राधिका सरोदयिन्दु निन्दिमुखमण्डली वन्दिये श्रीपादपद्म वृषभानुनन्दिनी। वन्दिये श्रीपादपद्म वृषभानुनन्दिनी। कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपा कटाक्ष भाज मां। कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपा कटाक्ष भाज मां। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। भागवत ग्रंथ की जय। भागवत जन की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Jai Srila Prabhupada, Vanchakalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki jai, Viyogini Radha Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamna Mai ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samaved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Grantaraj Shrimat Bhagavatam ki jai. So Hare Krishna. Today, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So today we are assembled again to serve Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. Today is Sunday, February the 14th, and we are serving Srimad Bhagavatam by trying to understand the first canto, first chapter, verse number 3. Nigama kalpa taro galitam phalam shukhamukad amruta drava samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. So today we are in our third session or the third week on this third verse. So may Srila Prabhupada, the Gaudiya Acharyas, bless me so that whatever I speak, it is pleasing to them, it is in line with their teachings, and it is pleasing to the ears of all the devotees, listeners, and we are hoping that we will get pure bhakti. That is our only goal that we are desiring. And this week especially, actually this month is a very special month. Many wonderful Vaishnava Acharyas, Gaudiya Acharyas, their appearances and disappearances are in the month of February. Actually, maximum number of the Tirobhav and Abhirbhav Tithis of the Acharyas is the month of February. As previously announced, the different Vaishnavas whose appearances are happening in this particular week are very amazing and so wonderful that we seek their blessings for our spiritual advancement. Especially this coming Tuesday is Vasant Panchami, which is a very auspicious day itself, the first day of spring. And in Vrindavan, it is celebrated with an amazing joy, with different songs and different leelas of Thakurji with Radharani that happen in this springtime in Vasant Panchami. It is also the in the footsteps of the Vrajvasis in Vrindavan, one should design and paint Krishna's body. A lot of different gopis and even Mother Yashoda paints Krishna's body very nicely on this particular day and performs arti. And it is also appropriate to offer yellow flowers. So this is because Vasant, or the yellow is the color of Vasanta. Vasant means spring. And the rag, especially the Vasant rag, is sung with different songs to please Radha Krishna. So like this, we pray that this Vasant Panchami festival brings us a lot of joy in our hearts, full of bhakti. It is also the appearance, as the announcement by Asim Prabhu was, the appearance of Pundrika Vidhyanidhi. So for those who don't know who Pundrika Vidhyanidhi is, just very briefly in a couple lines, he is actually in Golok Vrindavan, or in the Vrindavan pastimes. He is the father of Radharani, King Vrishabhanu. So Pundrika Vidhyanidhi is a wonderful personality, and he actually was very opulent, and he was a disciple of Madhavendra Puripad. Madhavendra Puripad was a very exalted devotee to whom Srinathji or Gopalji appeared on the Govardhan hill, not too far from Govind Kund. And Madhavendra Puripad is also the guru of Ishwar Puri, and also the Param Guru or the grand guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Ishwar Puripad, she initiated Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Madhavendra Puripad initiated Srila Ishwar Puripad. Not only that, Madhavendra Puripad also initiated exalted Vaishnavas like Advaita Acharya He initiated Nityananda Prabhu. So these were great personalities who, and it is due to Madhavendra Puripad that the Krishna Prema of Golok was kind of manifest. He was the one, because generally prior to that, mainly it was in the Dasya ras, which was predominant. So the rasas of Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya ras, Madhurya Vivad and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes his Param Gurudev in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, how exalted he was, and how he also went to collect the chandan, when Gopalji or Srinathji asked him to do so, and he went to Remuna in Orissa, and then when he was going, he stopped by at the temple of Gopinath, and then there is this wonderful pastime that Gopinath actually stole kheer for him. Madhavendra Puripad had a vow that he took that he would never ever, ask anything. That is called ayachak vritti. Yachak means to ask, and ayachak means not to ask. So he would not even ask for any food, any water, or anything. As a matter of fact, Gopalji came to Govind Kund one day and says, Baba, you must be hungry, please take this milk. And he brought a nice pot of milk for Madhavendra Puripad. And Madhavendra Puripad was very amazingly surprised and pleasantly, just looking at the boy who brought the milk. And he says, who told you that I was hungry? He said, well, we know in this village, nobody goes hungry. So I will come and collect the pot later. And then Madhavendra Puripad simply looked at the boy as he disappeared into the dust of Govardhan. And there he relished so much the milk that was provided by this boy. And then later on, he cleaned up the vessel, waiting that the boy will come back to pick it up, but the boy never came. But at that night, he came in his dreams. It was the same boy. Says, Madhavendra Puri, Madhavendra, I have been buried in this Govardhan top for many, many years. Please take me out. Please take me out. And the next day, along with the Brajvasis, Madhavendra Puripad went to the area in the Govardhan hill, and then lo and behold, telling the particular spot that Gopalji had come in his dream, he said that please find him in this spot, and they found the beautiful deities of Srinathji. Srinathji now, he was actually originally in worship in Govardhan, in actually right on top of the Govardhan hill, not too far from Govind Kund and not too far from Jatipura. And then later on, he, with the opulent worship that was there, he also told him that I was buried for a very long time. I'm very hot. Please get me the best chandan or the sandalwood, and then, make the pulp and apply it on my body along with camphor so that I can feel that cooling effect. And Madhavendra Puripad was told that the best of the chandan is found in the Malay hills in Orissa. So he went on for a long journey like that, such an exalted Vaishnava. And when he stopped at Rimuna, he went forward. He had heard that the kheer is amazing at Remuna, at the Gopinath Mandir. So he thought that I should taste it, and maybe I can figure out the recipe and I can offer it to my Gopalji. And then when he was in the line, suddenly he realized that he is not supposed to ask anything. He cannot put his hand forward, even to take prasadam. So he left the line, and then at night, after the temple closed, Gopinath came to the dream of this pujari. Says, at night, before I go to, you do the shayan, before you put me to sleep, you offer me kheer, and I have taken that kheer and put it behind me. So please find my dear devotee Madhavendra Puri. And in the middle of the night, this dream came to the pujari, and he went to the temple. He took a quick bath, opened the temple, and indeed he did find the kheer that was stolen by Gopinath for his pure devotee Madhavendra Puri. And then he immediately started looking out, asking in the middle of the night, who is Madhavendra? Who is Madhavendra in the village? And then as he walked by the tree where Madhavendra Puripad was resting, he says, I am Madhavendra Puri. And then he offered his obeisances, and he cried and says, Gopinath stole this kheer for you. Because, and he came to my dreams. And Madhavendra Puripad was in ecstasy. Such are the devotees of Sri Krishna, such is Sri Krishna, that how much Madhavendra Puripad went hungry. Gopinath could not bear that. So he stole the kheer. And from that day onwards, he was known as Kheer Chor Gopinath. So this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned this wonderful pastime through his own lotus mouth about his Param Gurudev. And Pundrika Vidhyanidhi was such an exalted Vaishnava who one time Gadadhar Pandit doubted. Gadadhar Pandit is one of the Panchatattvas. He is one of the Panchatattvas. We say before chanting the Mahamantra, we call out their names. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So Gadadhar is none other than Radharani in the bhav of Satyabhama Devi. And they all came along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Golok Vrindavan. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kori Swa Parshad Siyo Dham Saha Utari Attanta Durlabha Prema Kori Baridan Sikhaye Sharanagati Bhakate Ropran. Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays in his introductory song of Sharanagati. This is the first verse that he came along. Mahaprabhu Krishna came in the mood of Radhaji along with his own personal associates in this material world for the sake of all the jivas, for the fallen souls. Please, O Mahaprabhu, teach me the process of Sharanagati, the process of full surrender. So Gadadhar Pandit, when he went to see with Pundrika Vidhyanidhi one day, he was very opulent, very well dressed, and he was, fanning himself with a nice peacock feather, and he had a lot of servants and everything. And then Gadadhar Pandit also in this Leela doubted that what kind of a Vaishnava this person is. He's so opulent. And because of his doubt, he had committed an unknowingly a subtle offense. But this is all Leela, just to understand. And at that time, understanding the heart of Gadadhar Pandit, Pundrika Vidhyanidhi, at that time, Narhari Sarkar, one of the associates of Mahaprabhu, who came from the Kaviraj family, doctors basically. He was a wonderful poet also, not only a doctor, but Kaviraj meant also poets. So he sang one wonderful poem that actually put Pundrika Vidhyanidhi into ecstasy. He rolled down from his bed and he rolled on the floor when he heard the verses that were recited by Narhari Sarkar. And at that time, just looking at the peacock feather that his servants were fanning him, he went into an ecstasy and he swooned. And at that time, Gadadhar Pandit realized that he committed a great offense. So Pundrika Vidhyanidhi is none other than King Vrishabhanu. So his appearance is there. And later on, he took initiation, he took Diksha. Gadadhar Pandit actually took Diksha from Pundrika Vidhyanidhi. So this is amazing. And then even Sri Vallabhacharya Pad, who later on got the seva of Srinathji. Right now, Srinathji's seva, that is being performed very nicely by the Pushtimargi Saivites who are in Srinathji or Nathdwara, 30 kilometers away from Udaipur. Because during the attack of the Mughals, the bigger deities of Vrindavan were moved mostly to Jaipur, because Jaipur was only one state in all over India that was very strong because of the strong Rajput kings, where the Mughals could not control them. They were so chivalrous and they were also wonderful Vaishnavas. So Govind Devji from Vrindavan went to Jaipur. I sang that song today. I was just inspired. After a very long time, I sang this Aarti. Thousands and thousands of people in Jaipur in the morning in Govind Devji's temple. Govind Devji was actually, he appeared to Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami, in Vrindavan, he appeared to Rupa Goswami. And due to the Mughals' atrocities, Govind Devji was first moved to Kamyavan, which is also a part of Rajmandal, that is in Rajasthan. And then further, he was moved to Kanak Vrindavan in Jaipur. And then now the Raja of Jaipur had built a wonderful temple. And there, Govind Devji, then, due to the love that was shown by the Jaipur Vasis and the devotees in Jaipur, he did not go back to Vrindavan and he stayed there. And even today, he's worshipped so opulently in Jaipur. Every morning at Shringar Aarti, the hall is so huge that at least you can accommodate 2,000-3,000 devotees easily at one time, perhaps even more. And then beyond the hall, they have the open compound. And all at once, in a big chorus, they sing this song, Shri Govinda Tumhare Charano Mein Ek Prema Pujari Aaya Hai, Radhe Shyam Tumhare Charano Mein Ek Prema Pujari Aaya Hai. And as if every devotee is performing Abhishek of Govind first, and then gi- uh, offering wonderful silken garments to Govind Devji, and then wonderful tilak that is made of sandalwood and kasturi and camphor, kesar tilaka that is being offered. केसर चंदन लगाने आए, तिलक लगाने आया हूँ, बड़े प्रेम से तिलक लगाने दो, मनमोहन मैं तिलक लगाने आया हूँ. And then later on, Govind Dev Ji is offered bhoga with makhan and misri, his favorite. So this is the bhav. This is Vraj bhav. So the Vraj bhav has actually spread into Rajasthan very nicely, even in Srinath Ji. Amazing. The followers of Sri Vallabhacharya Pad, they actually wanted the service of Srinath Ji. So they took permission. Afterwards, after Madhavendra Puri Pad, Rup Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, they were the Mahantas. And then, because of their strong desire, to serve Govind, to Gopalji, or later on known as Srinath Ji, the son of Sri Vallabhacharya Pad, Vittal Nath Ji, got special permission from Rup Goswami. And Rup Goswami, appreciating the service of the Vallabhacharya Pushti Margi devotees, handed the seva to them. And even today, wonderful, opulent service, such immaculate service that they are doing, that Srinath Ji is amazingly very pleased with the service of the Pushti Margis. So this is the bhav, Madhavendra Puri Pad, to whom Srinath Ji appeared, and that is under Madhavendra Puri's name, the place in Govardhan known as Jatipura. It is one of the highest visited places of tirthas in Govardhan. For the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, there are many places of worship, or the places like Radha Kund, Krishna Kund, or Shyam Kund. But for the Vallabhi Vaishnavas, especially those Vaishnavas who are the followers of Sri Vallabhacharya Pad, Jatipura, and it is actually under the name of Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri Pad was called Jati Madhavendra. Jati means very like an Avdhuta, who never asked anything of anybody, always in ecstatic prema. It is called a Jati. It is called Avdhut. Like Nityananda Prabhu was also called Jati or Avdhut. And Jatipura meant, actually he was known as Yati, Madhavendra Yati. That is the way the Vrajvasis called him. It is also the Sanskrit, Yati. Yati means one who is completely Vairagi, one who is not attached to any material things. That is called a Yati. So that Yati, and who lived around that area, was known as Yatipura. So anybody who wanted to see Madhavendra Puri Pad, they would say, oh, he's by Govind Kund, by Yatipura. Yatipur, that is where his residence is. And even if you go today on Govind Kund, you will find the Bhajan Kutir, not too far from Sri Vallabhacharya Pad's 7th Baitak on Govind Kund, where he is actually facing the Mukharavind, and at the part of Govardhan, and on the banks of Govind Kund. So, and a few, just about half a kilometer away, 1 kilometer away is his residence known as Yatipur, which later on became Jatipur, and now it is called Jatipura. Pura means a city or a place or a town. So that is why, so all the Vallabhi Vaishnavas, they go to Jatipura. Jatipura is a must for those who are followers of Sri Vallabhacharya Pad, because there they also have the Mukharavind, where they offer, Mukharavind means the lotus face of Govardhan, where they offer wonderful bhog to Govardhan Nath Ji, to Govardhan Ji, different wonderful items and so many. We were fortunate about 2 years ago, before the COVID, we witnessed the wonderful Annakutta. I see Shashi Mata is also here today. Shashi Mata, if you remember, we were there, me, my wife, and a few other Vrajvasis. We were there in Jatipura, and what a wonderful Annakutta festival that was. That is so memorable and pleasing that we can never forget in our lives. Such a awesome festival. The way that they offered everything. So that is Madhavendra Puri Pad. These are those wonderful Vaishnavas. Pundrika Vidhyanidhi Prabhu Ki Jai is the father of Radharani. So may he bless us with pure bhakti. Radharani appeared to him because of his pure bhakti. That is Pundrika Vidhyanidhi. Then also, it is also the appearance of Sri Raghunandan Thakura. Raghunandan Thakura was an amazing Vaishnava. He was actually Mukunda Das, Madhav Das, and Narhari Sarkar, these were three brothers who lived in Sri Khanda in West Bengal. This is a place. And he was the son of Mukunda Das. They were all doctors. They were all Mukunda. And one time, this little boy, Raghunandan, used to follow in his footsteps of his father, sit with him in puja. He offered bhoga, and according to the instructions, he would chant the mantras, and he would assist his father every day when his mother prepared some elaborate bhog. And his deity's name was also Gopinath. Amazing. So Gopinath, one time while his father was just about to do some puja and offer bhog, at that time somebody came to the house, to Srila Mukunda Sarkar's house, and said, Kaviraj, this person is very sick, you must come. So Kaviraj, going for the call of his duty, he immediately told his son, my dear son, you know how to offer. And Raghunandan was very small at that time, perhaps 4 or 5 years only. And he said, Beta, you offer this bhoga, you know the mantras and everything, offer it nicely. Okay, I have to go for the call of my duty. I'm a doctor and somebody is very sick. So he left the house. And then, Gopinath was offered this wonderful plate of bhoga, and so nicely, perfectly chanted all the mantras, this 5-year-old boy, Raghunandan. And then Gopinath simply was there, Raghunandan was there, and the bhoga plate was there. So this is how and Raghunandan kept on telling Gopinath, please eat. And then Gopinath did not do anything. And he said, Gopinath, please eat. And Gopinath did not bat an eyelid. So at that time, Raghunandan started crying. He's saying that my father gave me a good responsibility for the first time. And if you don't eat, he's going to think that I did not do a good job, or I did not do my job. I did not offer you anything with love. So please eat. So this is a nice pastime, but just to make it quick and sweet, then Gopinath, out of pure, out of the love that Raghunandan, that young boy, had in his heart. And that is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, tu patram pushpam tolam jo me bhaktya prayachati. One who offers it me with deep love, I will accept it. But sometimes there are some devotees have so much love that Gopinath cannot resist. So what he did is, upon Raghunandan's pure plea, he cleaned out the entire plate. He ate everything. And then with the empty plate, Raghunandan goes to his mother into the kitchen. He says, Gopinath ate everything. And his mother, in astonishment, what? Because every day, like what we do in our houses, we offer the plate and then we bring it back and then we mix it with the rest of the prasadam, so that it becomes prasadam. So she was expecting to do the same thing. And then she thought that my boy is naughty. Perhaps he was very hungry and he ate everything instead of offering it to Gopinath. So this is what she said, you're becoming very naughty, you're lying to me. Tell me what happened. She says, no, no, Gopinath ate everything. At first he was not, but then I requested him again and again, and Gopinath ate everything. So his ma just, was in disbelief. And then she was kind of upset. When Mukunda Sarkar came back, he told Raghunandan's father that, look, our boy is getting very naughty. Not only that, he has started to lie. Why? What happened? He says, you went today to see your patient, in an emergency, and you gave him, I gave him the entire plate of bhoga, and then after a few minutes, he comes back with an empty plate saying that Gopinath ate everything. So now, Mukunda Sarkar was also kind of, perplexed, and he called Raghunandan. Raghunandan, my dear boy, come here. This is what your mother said. Is this true? He said, yes, Baba, it is true that Gopinath ate everything. How did that happen? Tell me. So he said, I said all the mantras, everything. You taught me, and he was not eating. And then, I requested him, I pleaded him, I even started crying. And then, he came and he did everything with his own hands, Baba. I saw it. So then, again, there was a huge doubt. And he says, you're lying to me. He says, no, Baba, I'm not lying. Then Mukund Sarkar, okay, tomorrow you're going to offer bhoga again. You will be offering the bhoga again tomorrow. And then again the bhoga was prepared. And then at this time, Raghunandan went again inside with the bhoga plate. The curtains were closed, And then he started offering, ringing the bell and saying the wonderful mantras, appeasing Lord Gopinath to partake of the bhoga. So again, same story. He did not budge and he kept on. And then Raghunandan at this point started crying ecstatically, saying that, look, yesterday you gave me a hard time. You finally ate everything and the blame came on me. And now my mother and father, they both do not believe me that I offered you bhoga. And they even go far as saying, my mother says that I ate everything. Now, this is ridiculous. You're the one to blame for this, not me. So you better prove this, that, that I did not do anything wrong. And like this, out of the pure plea of the devotee, and by the way, Mukunda Sarkar was watching a little bit through open curtains what was going on. And then there was a nice big laddu that was there on the plate. At that point of time, Gopinath actually picked up the laddu only out of all the items and ate half the laddu and put it back into the plate. So this was a huge, huge moment of bliss for Mukunda Sarkar, who was watching. And then after the offering was done, and the father actually bowed down to his son. Oh Raghunandan, how fortunate are you? How fortunate you are that Gopinath ate what you offered. Your bhakti is amazing. You are just so amazing that I'm so sorry that I doubted you. And then it is said that even that half-eaten laddu, somehow or the other, it is still there in Srikhanda. It is a place of Tirtha in West Bengal. It is there even today. So this is Raghunandan Thakura. It was his, on this Vasant Panchami day on Tuesday, it is also his appearance. It is also the appearance of Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami is one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And in the Nitya Leela of Radha Krishna, he is actually Tulsi Manjari, or also known as Rati Manjari. And they are very close to Radharani. Some of these Manjaris, Rupa Raghunatha Pade, Kabe Hoibe Akuti, Kabe Ami Heribo, Sri Vrindavana Bhumi. Narottam Das Thakur prays like this. So the line of Rupa Raghunath, these were the favorite of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das. Actually, when Raghunath Das Goswami used to come to Jagannath Puri to take darshan of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu was so much in love with the devotion, seeing Raghunath Das Goswami. He took him by the hand and gave it to Swarup Damodar. And then actually he says, you take care of him. Swarup Damodar is none other than Lalita Sakhi. And he would say you. And later on, Raghunath was known as Swarupera Raghunath. That is how lovingly devotees called him. Because Mahaprabhu entrusted Swarup Damodar Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami under him. His Vairagya was super excellent. The austerity, amazing. His Samadhi is found in the banks of Radhakund. There's so much we can discuss about this, about Raghunath Das Goswami. He has written wonderful esoteric books like Vilap Kusum Manjali and so many other wonderful Manasiksha. These are amazing Rasik books, and many Manasiksha, especially the instructions to the mind, how one should follow devotional service in the footsteps of the Vrajvasis. Raghunath Das Goswami's austerity was so amazing that he used to chant about 18-19 hours a day, just like Haridas Thakur, over 3 lakh names a day, and he was on the banks of Radhakund. He did not even have a hut or a kutia. He used to perform so great austerities that he hardly even ate or drank anything. Only what he had is to have is 1 buttercup milk, chas, that he used to get once a day. He was so austere. He was the embodiment of austerity. And one time it so happened, now this is something very important. Perhaps, I can cover something of, because we are in Bhaktivedanta Bhagavad group, and Bhagavad book and Bhagavad Granth are non-different. So sometimes the opportunity comes to speak about these Bhagavatas. So we will understand Bhagavad book better when we glorify these Bhagavatas. So it is very important to understand, and when the sphurti or the inspiration comes within my heart, then I kind of share these moments with the group. Although, we are actually going to be continuing in the third verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. But since the inspiration has come, I just wanted to share a few words about these great Bhagavats or these great devotees. So Raghunath Das Goswami is in the camp of Radharani. I've mentioned that many times, especially when we did the Gopi Geet during the Kartik month, and when we studied the deep Damodar Ashtakam from the Gaudiya Vaishnava perspective, we have to understand that our ultimate goal is Radha Dasyam in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. That is even higher than the service of Sri Krishna by himself. And when we serve Radharani nicely, Sri Krishna is pleased. And when Krishna is pleased, Radharani is pleased. So this is a achintya bheda. It is achintya, it is unthinkable. It is like it's a reciprocal thing. It's like in Hindi, a very funny thing comes to my mind. Perhaps this will help understand this. That when Radharani is pleased, Krishna is pleased, and when Krishna is pleased, Radharani is pleased. This is a funny thing that I want to mention. It is kind of off the cuff, but perhaps it will give us an idea. In Hindi, there is this thing that I had learned in my childhood. Khadak Singh se khadakne se khadakti hai khidkiyan, khidkiyon ke khadakne se khadakta hai Khadak Singh. It is the alliteration. That's what it's called in English, when a lot of words they repeat. So there's a person by the name Khadak Singh. And Khadak Singh was a very, very angry person. And when this angry person was getting angry, the windows used to, make noise. And because the windows made noise, Khadak Singh also became more and more angry. And the windows, because of the vibration of his anger, the windows also rattled even more. So like this. So the love of Radha and Krishna is such that if Radharani is pleased, Krishna is pleased. We do not have to make a separate endeavor to please Krishna. That is the goal of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So being in the camp and being a very close Saivite of Rup Goswami or Rupa Manjari, Tulsi Manjari or Rati Manjari is always looking to serve or to assist Rupa Manjari, who is very dear to Radharani. Rupa Manjari is very dear to Lalita Sakhi. So one time, every day they used to bring, some Brajvasis used to bring some chas or buttermilk. And even today, if you go to Vraj, they serve it in donas. They are made out of leaf. Even when you go to some temples, they serve the prasadam plate is made from thatch leaf. They are made from leaves. And the bowls are also made from leaves that are called donas. So that dona was made from a leaf that one day that came in Raghunath Das Goswami's hand, and he immediately looked at it, and the only meal that he had that day was that chas every day. He immediately threw that chas away. He immediately threw that buttermilk, and he chastised that person. Where did you get this from? This buttercup that you have made, this buttermilk cup, is not from Radharani's forest. It is from Chandravali's forest. I recognize these leaves. And Chandravali is a competitor of Radharani. She always keeps my Shyam Sundar away from Radharani. Go away from me. I don't want to see your face. And I don't even want your buttermilk. That is Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami's Vairagya was so great that he chanted on the banks of Radhakund in the heat. 50, 55 degrees Celsius, 60 degrees sometimes. Actually, it is said, somebody told me this, that Govardhan in summer has made it in the Guinness Book of Records as the most hottest place, one of the hottest places on earth. It is very hot. Actually, practically speaking, several years ago, my wife and I had gone to Radhakund, and at that time, they were having just, I think there was this festival of Bahula Ashtami that was coming the next day. And on Bahula Ashtami, or the appearance of Radhakund, thousands, millions of people throng Govardhan, and especially Radhakund, just to have a dip. And many people, they get injured or sometimes even get killed. So the government decided that on that day, now onwards, the army was deployed, or what you call the National Guard, and they had shut down Radhakund completely. No entries. Even Raghunath Das Goswami's, his samadhi, actually just a couple steps away from Radhakund. There's a door that takes you straight away. Everything was sealed, locked. Everything was locked. And then, I was kind of personally disappointed that I could not even take a few sprinkles of Radhakund. And my wife had actually, made it there also in the heat. So I said, somehow or the other, we should find a place. So one Baba, who was actually a staying at Radhakund just by Raghunath Das Goswami, he said, you want to, offer your obeisances to Radhakund and go there? I said, yes, Baba. So come. So he took me from some back alleys. And then he took me to one of the kutirs where all the Babas are staying. But there was a wall. He says, now you have to jump off this wall. And then you can go. Now, I had no problem. I was all enthusiastic. So I went on the wall, I jumped down, and as soon as I touched the Radhakund banks, it was so hot. You will not believe that by the time I went down to Radhakund to take a few sprinkles, and I took it, running up, sprinkled it on my wife's head, who was on top of the parapet at that time. And then by the time I came up, I had blisters on my feet. So hot. So in such heat, Raghunath Das Goswami was chanting the holy names. And one day, from far, Sanatan Goswami was also, every day he used to do parikrama, or twice a day of Govardhan. And Govardhan parikrama, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they start their parikrama from Radhakund. And they go all around Govardhan Hill, the 21 or 23 kilometers, and they end it at Radhakund. And the other Vaishnavas, a lot of them, they start from the Mukharavind or in Dan Ghati. That's the 18 kilometer or the short parikrama. But anyways, so after perhaps completing his parikrama or starting his parikrama, one day he saw that Raghunath Das Goswami is chanting the holy names on the banks of Radhakund, and behind him is actually Radharani holding her whole entire veil and shading Raghunath so that the heat would not, hurt, the rays of the hot sun would not hurt Raghunath Das. So then later on, Sanatana Goswami being the chief, the most eldest of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, later on he said, Raghunath, such austerity is not good. I saw that Radharani herself was serving you. You did not realize that. You better build a bhajan kutir. You need to make a hut and then you do your bhajan inside. What is the point of taking service from Radharani when we are Radha Dasyam? So this is the bhav. Can you believe that? This is Gaudiya bhav. Another time, Sanatana Goswami also saw that Raghunath Das Goswami in his ecstasy was chanting on the banks of Radhakund, and then not a couple feet away, there was a tiger drinking water. At that time, it was all forest and they were all wild animals freely moving around in Vrindavan. And at that time, Sanatana Goswami Pad saw that Krishna himself was standing behind him with a sword, just in case if the tiger decided, to attack him. So then Sanatana Goswami said, enough is enough. First he saw this pastime about Krishna protecting him behind with the sword. And then when he saw Radharani in the second pastime where she was actually holding her veil and she was taking all the heat of the sun, in that heat, then she said, that is it. You are going to build a bhajan kutir. Because our job is to serve, not to get served. So this is the bhav of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. How many people in the school of theism understand this bhav? That is why I say, my dear devotees, try to understand the bhav of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. There are many Vaishnavas, they're all wonderful, but they're all special in their own ways. And Gaudiya Vaishnavas are special in their bhakti, especially the bhakti of Radha Dasyam, or to please Radharani. So that was Raghunath Das Goswami, and there's so much more, but I can only, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so pleased with Raghunath Das Goswami that, he gave Raghunath Das Goswami a Gunja Mala, and he gave Raghunath Das Goswami a small Govardhan Shila with his thumbprint on it. Yes, and even today, we find this thumbprint. There are 2 places, one in the Radha Gokulananda temple and one in the Bhagwat Nivas, in the Radha Giri Indra Bihari Mandir. So we have had the darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's thumbprint on that Shila that was gifted to Raghunath Das Goswami by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also, it is on that day is the disappearance of Vishnupriya Devi. Vishnupriya Devi was a very, very amazing personality. He himself, he appeared, about 50 years before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually 50 years after, I take that back, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Devgram in West Bengal, and he took initiation from a personality from Radha Raman Chakravati Thakur. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada has said that to serve the feet of Narottam Das Thakur was the only desire of Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad has also written wonderful books. Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada has taken his guidance in Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavatam. Many places he has mentioned that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad has given this commentary on this particular verse of the Bhagavad Gita, a particular verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad says this. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad is an authority, and Srila Prabhupada, always, took pleasure in mentioning that how Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad has guided him, with his commentaries, for his elaborate commentaries of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and all the different literatures that Srila Prabhupada translated. Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad's most famous bhajan or the arti is the Mangal Arti. It is called the Samsara Davana Lida Loka Tranaya Karunya Gana Ganatvam Praptasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya Vande Guru Sri Charnaravindam. Every morning it is sung in all Gaudiya Vaishnava temples, especially in ISKCON, anytime in the Mangal Arti at 4:15 or 4:30 in the morning. Every day in the temples, this is the Arti it starts with. And lately we have given a seminar on this bhajan of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, on this Samsara Davanal. It's lasted a good 17 weeks. And even the last 2 Sundays, we have been speaking a little bit of the Tattva on Guru Tattva, which Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad is described in this Arti of Samsara Davanal. Even Rup Goswami has appreciated. He's known as the Vag Dev. Vag Dev means Vag means speech, and Dev means the God, or the God of like a Devi Devta. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad is such a wonderful personality, and we are indebted to him for all his wonderful commentaries that have been brought to us as it is, with the realization. So many wonderful. One of the wonderful commentaries that Srila Prabhupada mentions is, Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita that Prati Janati Kaunteya Name Bhaktya Pradashyati. That part in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna tells Arjun, you please declare that my devotee will never perish. You please declare that my devotee will never perish. So somebody may ask, why Krishna is asking Arjun to say that message? So here Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad was due to, because him being a very close associate of Radharani, he is also one of the Manjaris. Him being a Manjari, he knows the bhav of why Krishna said that, because sometimes Krishna breaks his promises. प्रबल प्रेम के पाले पढ़कर प्रभु को नियम बदलते देखा, अपना मान टले टल जाए, भक्त का मान न टलते देखा. One nice poet has said, the bhav is that prabala prem ke paale padkar, due to the pristine love that Krishna has for his devotees, Prabhu ko niyama badalte dekha. The Supreme Lord has changed the rules of the game many a times. This has happened out of pure love for his devotee. Apna maan tale tal jaye par bhakt ka maan na talte dekha. Even if his own prestige is at risk, he will never ever risk the prestige of his devotee. So therefore, he says that Arjun, sometimes I say some things, but sometimes according to time, place, and circumstances, I break my promise. Like I broke my promise in the Mahabharata, where I promised that I would never take part as a warrior. I will just be. He promised Duryodhana that I will give you my Akshauhini Sena and I will be with Arjuna. Who do you want? So he chose the Akshauhini Sena, Krishna's own what do you call, his own army. So Krishna gave it to him. And Arjuna said, I only want you, Prabhu. But then Duryodhana made this condition that, Keshav, you will not fight. Then Krishna says, okay, no problem, I will not fight. But when the time came, when Bhishma Dev, with the onslaught, when he made that promise to Duryodhana, when Duryodhana accused him of being namak haram, of taking his salt and not doing what he's supposed to do, being very lenient to the Pandavas, being lenient to Arjun, he was not a proper Kshatriya. Duryodhana said such words that were so hurtful. So Bhishma Dev, on the 10th day, I think that was the day when he said that tomorrow, either I will be there or I will be finished or Arjun will be finished. I promise you that. And Duryodhan, was very pleased to know that, because when Bhishma says something, he's known as Bhishma. Bhishma means one who has taken a great vow. Actually, his name was Devrata. He was born from Ganga Devi and from Santanu Maharaj, the king of Hastinapur. But because of his promise that he will stay to Satyavati Mata, whom Santanu Maharaj loved so much, and he wanted to get married, and finding out the reason that the father of Satyavati had asked for a promise that, if I will only give you my daughter Satyavati to you if you promise that the offspring of Satyavati will occupy this throne of Hastinapur. But he already had a son by the name Devrat or Bhishma Dev. And how could he do such injustice to him? But eventually when Devrat found out about his father's condition, he told the Satyavati's father, no problem, my dear sir, I want to see my father happy. Please let him marry Satyavati Mata. And I promise that, I will never get married, so there will be no question of any offspring. Because the father of Satyavati said that, okay, you promised not to take the throne of Hastinapur, but what will happen if you get kids? And those kids will fight with the kids of Satyavati over the throne. So then he takes this vow that I will never ever get married. And at that time, due to that Bhishma, that Bhishma vow, that he had taken all the demigods, the Devi Devatas showered flowers and called him Bhishma, Bhishma. Amazing. And because of that, Santanu Maharaj, having heard what his son had given such a big sacrifice, not only remained a brahmachari, and he also promised that he will protect the throne of Hastinapur, whoever is sitting on it. And that is the reason why he had to protect the throne, although miscreants like Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan were the rulers. And because he was bound to that vow that he will eternally protect as long as he is living whoever is sitting on the throne of Hastinapur. So then Santanu Maharaj, having heard of this, the uncommon and most wonderful promise that he had made, he blessed his son. My dear son, I cannot believe what you have done for me. I bless you that you will have Ichha Mrityu. You will die as per your own wish. Whenever you wish to die, you will die only at that time. And therefore, he had got this blessings from his father, Santanu Maharaj. But during that time, on the 10th day of the Mahabharata war, because he had made that promise to Duryodhan, the battle was so frightening that Arjuna's crown fell down from his head. Blood started oozing left and right. Not only that, even on Krishna's arms, his chariot was destroyed. The great Parthasarathi could not control the chariot. Krishna, as the great charioteer, the chariot that was given by Indra, by Arjun's father, that was because Arjun was born of Kunti and Indra, because Kunti had done an experiment given by Surya Dev that if you chant this mantra, you can call any Devi Devta. And like that, she had called upon, trying to test. And then Indra and Kunti, they had union, and out of that, actually, Arjun was born. And of course, that was a secret. So, like that. So the point being that Bhishma was almost finished. And at that time, Krishna broke his promise. He went forward, charging with the chariot wheel, wanting to kill Bhishma. And that is also mentioned by Vishnvanatha Chakravarti in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that how, just like he charged like a lion towards an elephant, and then he describes Bhishma's stav. And in Bhishma's stav, Bhishmadev says that I saw you, my dear Krishna, how you charged at me. Your whole body became ashen. This is first canto, chapter number 9. When we study the wonderful passing away of Bhishmadev, we will go into those details. But Bhishmadev lying on the bed of arrows that Arjun had showered on him, because there was a trick that was played on Bhishmadev by bringing Shikhandi. And then of course he was also tricked because Draupadi was given this blessing, Akhanda Saubhagyavati. Krishna actually tricked Bhishmadev by sending so Draupadi the early morning before the 10th day and saying that don't say anything, remove your shoes. And Bhishmadev will be meditating early in the morning. He will be chanting the holy names. You just go into his tent and you bow down to him, and that's all you need to do. Make sure you take your shoes out, make sure you take your ankle bells out, because Bhishmadev knows just by the sound who is approaching. And then when she went in, she finally, when at least Bhishmadev, in the dark, he found that there was a lady bowing down, a married lady. So he said, Akhanda Saubhagyavati Bhava. You remain eternally, like Akhanda Saubhagyavati. How should I put that in English? That is a blessing that you will always remain married, meaning when you leave your body, actually your husband will still be alive. That's the meaning of Akhanda Saubhagya. Akhanda means forever you remain, blessed with a husband. That is the meaning of Akhanda Saubhagya. That is the best I can explain in English. Because Saubhag means fortune, and a fortune for a woman is her husband. So if you want to go into the Sanskrit part, Akhanda means eternal, Saubhag means the fortune, and the Saubhag of a woman is the Sindur, or the husband. As long as the husband is alive, that is the Saubhagya. So a lot of, when we go to elders, and especially a married woman bows down to the elders, that is the blessings that they give. Akhanda Saubhagyavati Bhava. So that's what Bhishma Dev had told her when she bowed down. And later on, he found out that this is Draupadi. So then he was surprised that Krishna, I know that is you. Krishna was standing outside the tent carrying Draupadi's shoes and her ankle bells. And he says, Krishna, 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 how could it be but just you? So he was pleased internally. And of course, because he had said Akhanda Saubhagyavati, how could his words fail? So like this, the entire story of Bhishma Dev's passing away and all is there in the 9th chapter. But the point being that Vishwanath Chakravarti gives a wonderful commentary on the prayers when Bhishma Dev is lying in the back, and after the Kurukshetra war is over, and Bhishma Dev is waiting for the sun to come into Uttarayan, into the northern hemisphere, which we call the Sankrant, Makar Sankranti. And at that time, because of his Ichha Mrityu, his desire, whenever he desired to leave his body, he could. So after 58 days after the Kurukshetra war, he was still alive because he had not desired to die. So he was waiting for the sun to come into the northern hemisphere, which is considered very auspicious. And of course, he knew that the Pandavas will come, all the great sages will come. Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, himself will come in the battlefield when he was fallen on the bed of arrows. And at that time, he says a wonderful verse. The meaning of that verse is that Krishna, you charged at me and your whole body was covered with the ashes, like the ashen color due to the hooves of the dust that were there from the chariots and the horses. And then your crown was blown away, and your uttariya, your upper garment was blown away, and you charged at me like a lion with a chariot wheel. And then I saw that you had bruises, there was some blood oozing from your shoulders and from your arms. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti, there he comments. Just to see, I'm trying to go into a little bit of details because this is what I want to bring to life, what these Mahabhagavats are, before we actually study Bhagavad. Vishwanath Chakravarti, Prabhupada quotes him. The Vishwanath Chakravarti quotes, and this is a very, very amazing way he quotes it. It's just like a lover. When a lover is having union with their lover, both male and female, at that time, sometimes, the female bites the lover. There are bite marks, like what the modern Western boys and girls hickeys on their neck or on their shoulders, etc. So these bite marks are there on the body of the lover and the beloved, both of them, sometimes in their ecstasy of their exchange of love. So similarly, Vishwanath Chakravarti writes that, this is his commentary, that this was the love of Bhishmadev for Krishna, and Krishna's love, when all those bruises that were there, just like a lover and a beloved, so Only such great exalted Vaishnavas can make such comparisons, trying to understand and how Krishna actually loved those arrows that were going past his body and bruising him, as if like a lover was making love, and those bruises are out of love. So this is Vishwanath Chakravarti. One of the other books that my dear Ranpran Prabhu just pointed out, which I forgot to mention, is Madhurya Kadambini. That is one of the wonderful, amazing books that Vishwanath Chakravarti, Rasik Vaishnava books that he has. And then also, this Vasant Panchami is the appearance day of Sri Vishnupriya Devi. Vishnupriya Devi was one of the concerts of of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu married twice. First was Lakshmi Priya, and she left her body in a very young age. She wound up her pastimes and she left. And then, due to the sheer pressure of Sachimata, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu married again to Lakshmi Priya. Actually, they were both the devotees of. She is actually in the Gaur Ganesh Dipika. She is actually Satyabhama, one of the consorts of Krishna in Dwarka, one of the chief Patranis. So Satyabhama. And she was only 14 years. At that time, they used to get married very young. And Mahaprabhu, after, getting married to her very soon, within a few days, took sannyas. So this is the Vishnupriya Devi. That is why sometimes we sing, Vishnupriya Pranadhana Nadiya Bihari Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Vishnupriya Mata was so amazing that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, took sannyas, and she was so young, her, due to the feeling the separation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu left the home. The previous night it is described that Mahaprabhu gave very special attention to her. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that sometimes when the lamp or the deep is about to extinguish, it starts burning very bright. That is the analogy Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So the previous night before Mahaprabhu was about to take sannyas and leave home, like that the analogy is, he showed some very extra romantic mood to Lakshmi Priya, and he even kind of did some shringar rasa. He even decorated with his own hands Lakshmi Priya Mata, his wife, his consort. And then the next morning, the verse that was dreaded by Lakshmi Priya Mata, he was gone. Her husband, leaving her, the young child, mother Sachi was devastated that what kind of a heart Mahaprabhu had, that Chaitanya, my Nimai, why did you leave this young girl? And then it is said that there is this wonderful verse after a long time, I think, if I remember it correct, Tatta sudustatam surepsita Raja Lakshmi dharmishtaya Arya Vachasa Yad Agada Haranyam Maya Mrigam Taib Sitam Dhavyamana Vande Mahapurushate Charna Arvindam. So this actually verse applies to Lord Ramachandra and also to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's amazing, this verse, wherein that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Tad Agadaranyam, he went to the forest. That means he took sannyas for the well-being of everyone. And he left his own Takta Sudustata Raja Lakshmi. Raj Lakshmi means Lakshmi Priya Mata. Raj Lakshmi. She is actually Satyabhama, so she is Raj Lakshmi. Takta Sudustatam Surapsita Raja Lakshmi Dharmishta Arya Vachasa. Arya Vachasa means, Arya means the best of amongst all the kings. So Lord Ramachandra also actually banished Sita Mata. So this verse applies to him where there is separation between Lord Ramachandra and Sita Mata. And here also the separation was caused by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Amazing verse. Like there is Ramayana and also Gaur Sundar's Leela in this particular verse. So the most dreaded thing that happened to her, and then after that, Lakshmi Priya Mata, out of separation, she cried and cried and cried, and all she would have is, she would take a few grains of rice that she had, just cleaned up, and then out of that, that was her only meal that she used to take, Lakshmi Priya Mata. In separation, she did not have a full meal, in separation of her husband Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But of course, Mahaprabhu had a bigger cause, And she knew that. This is because there is none other than the direct expansion of Srimati Radharani. Satyabhama, Radharani, they are the same in one sense, right? So the thing is that they know for a higher cause, this separation is created. For a higher cause, Krishna left Golok Vrindavan. It is not only to taste the, it is not only to taste the his own beauty. It is not only to glorify Radharani, but also to taste the nectar of what Radharani felt. And Radharani's nectar is pure devotion. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not only wanted that, he wanted to give that also to all. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. Krishna Prema Prakrishta Rupena Daine Iti Pradayate. With profusely giving it to each, and Dina Hina Jatachilo Hari Name Udharilo Tara Sakshi Jagai Madai. To all those people, including the examples of the worst scoundrels like Jagai and Madai, he gave Hariname Udharilo. That was Mahaprabhu's higher cause, which Lakshmi Priya Mata understood. So on Tuesday, it is also Lakshmi Priya Mata's appearance day. So we pray to her so that we can also be imbibed with Shuddha Bhakti. Lakshmi Priya Mata ki Jai. And also it is Saraswati Puja. And then on this Thursday is Sri Advaita Acharya's appearance. Advaita Acharya is none other than the expansion of Mahavishnu and Sadashiv. Actually, in Golok, in Vaikuntha Dham, there is the place known as the Sadashiv Kailash. There are three types of Kailashes. There are two Kailashes in this material world. One is found in the Devlok. One is found in the Himalayas, where the devotees of the present moment are able to go take darshan. And then there is one, and these two are nothing but the manifestations of the eternal Kailash that is present in the Vaikuntha Lokas. And there Sadashiv, a personality who is a combination of Mahavishnu and Lord Shiva. Mahavishnu and Lord Shiva is Sadashiv. And Advaita Acharya is an expansion of Sadashiv. And so he is actually a very, very merciful personality. Narottam Das Thakur prays in that bhajan, Daya karo Sita Pati Advaita Gosai, Tava Kripa Bole Pai, Chaitanya Nitai. Please have mercy on me, O Advaita Gosai. Tava Kripa Bole Pai, Chaitanya Nitai. It is by your mercy we can obtain the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Actually, it is Advaita Acharya. Even before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu appeared, he was very senior. He appeared and he was there in Shantipur on the banks of the Ganga. And he actually cried. He always used to worship the Shaligram Shila with Tulsi and Ganga water. And with his tears, he bathed along with the Ganga water, the Shaligram Shila with Tulsi leaves. My dear Lord, please come. Now you must come, oh Mahaprabhu, you must come. Now it is the time. A lot of Shaktas have been, and there's so much, the Vaishnava Dharma has been almost eradicated. And there are so many Apasampradayas, Aul, Baul, Sankachuda, Atibari, Sahajjas, Bengal, and all over. Everything is being diluted. Shuddha Bhakti is not being propagated. I beg you to come. I beg you to come. I beg you to come. And he begged and begged. And therefore Krishna decided to come as Maha. So there are many different reasons why Krishna left Golok and he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's a wonderful, I think this Ashtakam was compiled by Sarvabhauma Acharya in glorifying Advaita Acharya. I see that our Rajvidya Prabhu and Subhadra Mata are also online. Maybe about 2 or 3 years ago when we were in Vrindavan Dham, Rajvidya Prabhu and myself, we went on the parikrama on Ekadashi day and we went to Advaitvat, the place of bhajan, where Advaita Acharya sat under that what tree, under that banyan tree. And there we sang this wonderful Hunkara Garjanadi Ahoratra Sadaguna Ha Krishna Radhika Nath Prarthanartha Sahaguna. I forgot the rest of it. It's not in front of me. Maybe next Sunday I will sing it. Sita Nath Advaita Chara Naravinda Bhavana Ha Krishna Radhika Nath Prarthanath Tamaya. So Sita Nath Advaita Charan. Actually, Advaita Acharya was also known as Sita Nath. His wife's name was Sita Mata. And she is the one who gave, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, when he appeared to Sachimata, he actually was born under a neem tree. So just to ward out the evil spirits out of grandmotherly love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, she called him the mother, the wife of Advaita Acharya, Sita Mata, called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Nimai. So everybody started calling him Nimai, so that any evil spirits that are there will not touch that little baby. So this is the Vatsalya Bhav. Just like Yashoda Mai and the gopis of Vrindavan, they used to sprinkle Panchagavya every day on Krishna's head. They used to, the cow urine, the cow dung, the cow dust, etc. They used to, cow milk, ghee, the yogurt, they used to bathe him with that so that no evil would touch baby Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So nothing evil can happen to them. But it is the bhavna, it is Krishna consciousness that we should all be concerned. That is what Srila Prabhupada said, consciousness, Krishna consciousness. So that is the bhav. So that is the bhav that Advaita Acharya, he proclaimed that, please come, please come. He cried and cried, Gangavari, Dhupalepa Kasturi, Deepa Adi, Gangavari. Some words, they're not coming to me. But Sarovar Acharya wrote this by Gangavari, with that his own eyes became Ganga. He rolled down his cheeks and he offered that Abhishek to the Shaligram Shila. And like that, Dhupa Deepa Kasturi, he did Arti with Dhoop, with Deep, with offering the lamp, and pleaded, please come, please come, please come, establish pure bhakti. So it is because Yadi Gaurang na hoito tabe ki hoito kemone dharitam de Radhara Mahima Prema Rasasima Jagat Janatake. If Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not come, how would the whole world have known Radhara Mahima, the glories of Radharani, Prema Rasasima? There is no other prema higher than that of Sri Radha. The zenith, Rasasima, Jagata Janatake. How would the whole world know Yadi Gaurang na hoito? So we have to be thankful to acharyas like Advaita Acharya, who are principally responsible for bringing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to this material realm, to this earthly planet, so that we can get pure bhakti, so that we can get devotees like Rupa Goswami, Rupanugas, we can get devotees like Sanatana Goswami, Raghunatha Das Goswami. All these wonderful personalities, they came in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the mood of Mahaprabhu, to give pure bhakti, to give actual Bhagavad. This is Bhagavad. Bhagavad Padho, Bhagavad Sthane. So when we get the blessings, I always, whenever the opportunity arises, I always tell myself, you know what, whether I know Shastra or not, Shastra is unlimited. I don't know everything. I have not even probably got an iota, maybe not even the nth of an infinity of the Shastras. I have not understood everything, but I have understood one thing by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and all these wonderful acharyas, that you are very, very much, you are like the Antaranga circle. You are the inner circle of Radharani. And you are the family, like a very close personalities. So if you can please, a person like me who is fallen, who is indeed very, very, a struggling soul, but if you bestow your mercy, on me, I'm sure Radha Krishna will indeed bestow your mercy. That is the bhav. That is why, we have to understand, a lot of these people, they go into Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, this granth, that granth, without even knowing the family of Radharani. Family means the servitors of Radharani, the Sakhis, the Prana Sakhis. Radharani calls these Manjaris Prana Sakhis. Prana means my life and soul. So if we know them, then Radharani will become very favorable to us. There's nothing in this whole creation that can stop our advancement. So please, try to understand that we must, show our affection, try to understand these Mahabhagavats whenever the opportunity arises. So I thought I will just dedicate today. I'm sorry if I've not gone into the third verse, but I will do that next time. Next Sunday, we will definitely go into it, and we will sing the Advaita Ashtakam next Sunday, which has got a wonderful, the translation also will be displayed. So you all will get the idea how Advaita Acharya, pleaded to Mahaprabhu. And that's why Mahaprabhu came also, along with other reasons. But Advaita Acharya was instrumental in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's uh, arrival in this material world. So thank you very much. All these Bhagavats ki jai. Book Bhagavat and Grantha Bhagavat are non-different. So today we discussed Bhagavat indeed. Please don't be disappointed. We discussed Bhagavat. I hope you all understood. So this is the class on Bhagavat also. They are all the bodily expansions of Radharani. All these manjaris and all these gopis, etc. So if we eulogize them, Radharani is most pleased. Actually, more pleased than we sing prayers to her, eulogizing her, or even Sri Krishna. Because Sri Krishna is always eager to hear the glories of his devotees, pure devotees. And if Krishna is pleased, Radharani is pleased. Nothing like it. Actually, they want to hear it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relished hearing from these parshals of Radharani. He is Krishna himself, but he wanted to hear Rai Ramananda, Lalita Sakhi, Vishakha Sakhi, Sarup Damodar, Lalita Sakhi, and all these, Rup Goswami, Rupa Manjari, tell me what you have written. I would like to hear it. He relished everything. Vidyapati, Chandidas, Jaydev Goswami. This is the bhav. So, thank you very much. I would now ask our Anuprabhu to make